Today we're going over Pro Control. We're actually also, if you guys weren't on earlier, I have a special guest today, and Matt Thunberg from RTI and Pro Control is here. He's the guru on Pro Control, so he'll be there to also help with any questions afterwards. So I just want to thank everybody for taking time out of your busy week to learn about Pro Control. First of all, we're going to go into who is Pro Control. Okay, you guys have probably heard of RTI. Pro Control is a division of RTI. RTI is actually a parent company of Pro Control. Okay, it was founded in 1992. All right, and it's located, if you guys didn't know, right in Minneapolis. So they're home to Minneapolis just like Capital Sales is. Originally, RTI was actually started by designing products, doing OEM products for partner companies like Lexicon, Sonance, and a lot of others. By doing so, RTI built a reputation for intuitive programming software and affordable control solutions. You guys ever did Sonance remotes or Lexicon remotes way back in the day? That was all RTI. And by doing so, integrators have learned to love the software because it is so customizable and it's easier to program than a lot of other brands. We're going to get into both of those capabilities of the software here in the coming up. By doing so, RTI has utilized better technology for Pro Control. It actually uses true control processors, not just the program lives in the remote and sends RF commands to a base station, which converts it to IR. Okay. If any of you guys have used any other manufacturers that the program lives in the remote, that's great and all when you only have one remote. If you have a remote and an iPad, that becomes a problem because nothing stays in sync. By having true control processor, meaning everything lives in that processor, everything is going to stay in sync. So there's a huge benefit by doing a control processor. The macros are stored right in the processor, not in the remote. And the way it works is the remote or iOS or Android sends an RF trigger or a trigger code to the processor. And that eliminates the missteps of a macro. How many times have you programmed a remote and the whole command doesn't always get there? By sending just a trigger command and having the macro live in the remote or in the processor, takes care of all of that. One other thing to keep in mind is the RF frequency that Pro Control uses is 433 megahertz, not 418. It's a little less used, it's very reliable. In the year 2000, RTA started branding the actual RTI products, meaning they moved from OEM products, building remotes for other people, and building their own. And what they did is they started off with the T2 and the IRF6 products, focusing on the market for a control system under $1,000. It was able to create a control system utilizing the 21 years, of research and development. So over the years, just like any company, they grow. They have growing pains. RTI and Pro Control is not afraid to admit their growing pains. Every company has them, but being able to take those and learning from mistakes or problems or anything else, you're able to build a much better product. Okay, and just like that second statement, it utilizes the experiences of success stories and hard knocks. Okay, everybody has had bad products. The biggest thing is not to throw them under the rug, but to admit to them and learn from them, and RTI and Pro Control has done a great job at that. They wanted to create something different than anybody else, being able to give you a nice, elegant touchscreen, high-resolution screen, programmed for a basic system just in a matter of minutes. So, and we're going to get into a little more of that in a bit. It's designed around a single room or two-room application. Okay, so again, a single room or two-room application. This isn't for a full home automation system one in Pro Control. That's what RTI is for. And I would love to discuss more projects with you or specific projects afterwards. Feel free, we'd love to chat. we're able to combine the remote with the reliability of a true control processor, like I mentioned before. But the biggest thing is it's priced aggressively. Okay, it breaks through historic price barriers with this type of robust, professionally installed system. So there's two statements there in those comments that I want to point out again. Extremely price aggressively controlled processor, and it's a professionally installed system. What that means is it is not a DIY product. It's not something that your customer can price shop. It's a professionally installed system, and by doing that, it keeps the integrity of the line, keeps your margins up, and by having the unit priced aggressively, you're able to sell them in a lot more jobs. Okay, Pro Control products were designed for specific purposes to fill the market. Okay, where an RTI system was too large, a full automation system was too large, but you wanted all the functionality in just one or two rooms, that's what Pro Control is for. Let's get into the hardware. Okay, we went through Pro Control, we went through RTI, where Pro Control came from. Now the hardware behind Pro Control, because everybody knows it's all about the hardware, that's where we make our money. It's fully customizable control interface. It's completely customizable. Okay, so by saying that, you can delete everything on the UI and build it how you want. Okay, for specific applications. Some applications you may need to give it a very basic system or a very elaborate. You can do that. But this gives you fast and wireless control. It gives you IR, direct from the remote, 433 megahertz for an instant RF control via the RF triggers, or they've got a 2.4 Zigbee option for not just control, but also feedback. So now you can get full two-way metadata on the remote. So you can see album artwork, what's playing, all of these different features that people have grown to love in our technology age with smartphones and tablets. You can get all of that info right on the remote via the 2.4 Zigbee version. Okay, so it also gives you superior processing technology right from the controller. The macros, like I said, are stored in the controller. It's done by a single trigger to execute everything, so there's no missing steps. The software advantages. iOS integration. Fully customizable interface. Control from anywhere, because it is iOS integrated. You have Wi-Fi or cellular data, so off-site control if you want. It also gives you advanced programming software, efficient programming, and increased profitability. That's something we haven't heard yet in the webinar. Okay. Auto programming features, that's where the increased profitability comes into play. That statement, auto programming, what that means is it will build your you put in the devices, it will give you a UI and build your macros for you. The cool thing is you don't need to stick with that UI or macros. You can customize those afterwards as well to tailor it to your project. So it accelerates, it automates all of your building for you, and then you can go in and customize whatever you want. Also, password-protected software, meaning the end user can't get to the software. They're not going to screw up. They need you to program it. Again, it's a professionally installed system. This lets you keep your program, make sure your program and your projects are running flawlessly because the end user can't go in and mess with it. Also, all devices are programmed with a single application. You don't need to have a separate software to do one remote versus the other remote, one base station versus the other base station. It's all in one software. Very easy. We'll get into the product line up here. A lot of really cool little products there. We've got processors, iOS, and remotes. Now, when you're looking at Pro Control, there's two different versions. Okay, there's the R series and the Z series. Before I get into everything here, easiest way to understand, R series is all one way. It's standard RF. It's one-way communication. Okay, Z series gives you that full two-way communication. Now, when we talk about Z series, this is what I talked about to begin with. So First of all, the R series controls devices using IR standalone, meaning it's going to be able to blast IR direct out of the remote, or you can use it with a processor and do a RF triggers. Also, even though it's standard one-way, it does do iOS capable, which is really cool. It is limited to 5 devices, but and the remote communicates via IR 433. And this is really tailored to a single or 2-room application. Just for one-way, they want a basic system, they want to run macros, they don't need any 2-way features. The R series is a great unit for you. Now let's get into the Z series. The Z series controls not just IR, but it also gives you now the capability of doing serial control, RS-232, or Ethernet control. So much wider range of control options. And with the technology age nowadays, I would say we should always be speccing the Z series. The reason being, with everything wanting to be on the network, 2-way features, the demands that all the customers expect, they may not ask for them, but they really expect them. If they've got a smartphone in their hand or a tablet, they expect the 2-way. So let's just let's just sell it to them. Let's start with the Z series. It gives you the ability to do standalone RF control with the processor if you want. Pro control or Pro panel, so iOS capable, up to 10 devices. 2-way control and feedback. The remote communicates via 2.4 Zigbee, and this is a larger, more multi-zone application, so a lot more features rich than the R series. Let's first get into the R series remote. Okay, a lot of these features between the R and the Z series are the same. Some are more, there's a few extra features in the Z series. They both have 2.4 LCD screens. They're fully customizable. They do have a rechargeable battery, okay, and replaceable lithium-ion battery. So if the battery does die, you can replace it, okay? Able to transmit IR and triggers right from the remote. It also has IR learning built in, so you don't need to have a separate piece, a separate tool to learn an IR code. You can pair it with the ProLink R series processor, which is going to communicate via 433 megahertz. That gives you about a 90-foot range, okay? Just remember, when you're pairing devices, if you have an R series base station, you want to get an R series remote. Z series base station, you want to get a Z series remote, okay? And it's compatible with the optional Pro 24 dock charging cradle. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind, the R series does not come with the docking cradle. That's an add-on piece, okay? Let's get into the R series processor. Professional grade processing via RF, again, up to 90 feet away, okay? The remote can go 90 feet, the base station can be 90 feet from the remote. Whatever way we look at it, it's 90 feet roughly. Processor stores all the commands and macros for the communication. This makes it, again, very reliable. Supports one-way control via 433. That gives you the R24R and the Pro 8. And we're going to get over that in a bit, those two models. The Pro 24R is the remote. I'll get into the Pro 8 in a bit. So again, one-way IP control. The R series is all one-way, but this gives you one-way control from iOS devices. What it looks like and what it has. It's got 4 routable, adjustable IR ports. So you can route them, you can variable the intensity of the IR signal. It also has 2 logic-based voltage sensors. Okay, so now you can still build in a little bit of automation in here using those voltage sensors. Download programming over the LAN. So that's really nice to be able to just plug in. So let's say you've got a lot of these around. Even though they're one-room, kind of 2-room applications, you may have multiple of these in a house. Programming makes it very easy because you can all plug them into the network, open up one software, you're going to have one program for that whole house. Very nice and easy to program again. It has the internal 433 antenna built in. It's wall mountable with the included bracket. It's got LED indicators to show what's going on. And when you plug it into the network, you can set it as static IP or it is DHCP capable. Little diagram of how you can plug it in. Okay, and you have the ability to expand if you need more than 4 ports in that room. If you notice in the lower right-hand corner, we can do the Pro IRCB4 connecting block, and I will explain that a little later, but just so you can see that. Now let's get into the Z series. Again, a 2.4 touchscreen, able to transmit IR and trigger macros from a single button press. So again, macro capability as well. You can pair it with the, if you pair it with the ProLink Z processor for 2.4 gigahertz, you're going to get a little less range, 80 feet. And that's, again, reason being it's a higher frequency range. It goes a little less. Faster communication, but it doesn't go as far. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We do have a solution if you need to go farther than that. But some of the biggest things are two-way control and feedback. You're going to get full two-way. If you notice on the picture, it's showing you metadata to see what's playing. Okay, all of these features are going to be built right onto that remote capabilities. This one also has the lithium battery and charging cradle included. Remember the other one was an add-on? The R series, Z series, charging cradle comes with it. Again, why not just sell them the Z series? Now let's get into the Z series processor. If you are using 433, you're going to get about a 90-foot range. If you're using Zigbee, you're going to get about 80 feet. Expandable with the Pro RFC, that's the Zigbee repeater to be able to extend farther. Processor stores all the commands and macros. Again, it also, like I said, it supports two-way control and feedback via Zigbee and the iPro 8. It also supports full two-way for all iOS. R series is all one-way, Z series is two-way capable. Okay, I'm going to say that multiple times so you guys can remember it. R series is one-way, Z series is two-way. Okay. So what do you get with the Z series? Okay, obviously it has a 2.4 Zigbee antenna built into it. It gives you two bi-directional RS-232 ports. Okay, fully functional, pre-designed IP and RS-232 templates. That's all in the software, so it has templates already built for you. Again, very quick and easy programming. 6 addressable IR ports. The R series only had 4. The Z series has 6. Okay, 2 voltage sensors. Gives you programming over the LAN or USB. Again, it's wall mountable. Again, it has LED indicators, static and DHCP able. Okay, so R series comes with 2 sensors and 4 IR, right? The Z series comes with 2 RS-232, 2 sensors, and 6 IR. Big jump of capability here. So again, might as well spec the Z series. And you can expand it as well. If you notice again in the lower corner, right-hand corner, we can do the IRCB4 connecting block, and we've got a few extra features as well for accessories here coming up. Additional controls and accessories. We've got obviously iOS. We've got the iPro 8, the docking station, the RF repeater, the IRCB4, and the Relay 4. We'll get into these now here. What you get from iOS. It can be used with or without a remote, meaning if you have a lot of these people that say, hey, I only want to control it via iOS. I don't want a remote, right? So you can now just sell them a base station, a processor, and get them the iOS app. It's going to work on every iOS device almost out there because it does 4.3 and higher iOS. You find a device that's still running 4.3 and it's still running well, I don't know if I would try and put a process control system on that. Almost every iOS device you're going to run into is going to be able to run this. Okay. It must be paired with the ProLink processor. Licenses are tied to the processor, not the user's device. The really cool thing about that is you don't have to try and, if somebody loses a device, it breaks, they get a new one, they don't have to call you, right? They can just connect to the processor and it's ready to go. Also, if they want to do mainly iOS, they don't want that touchscreen and they want to do most of their two-way via iOS, but they still want a basic remote. Well, Pro Control has that for you too. They've created this nice little iPro 8 companion remote. If you notice, it's basic, but it's got every function you need on there. It's perfect for pairing it where they have a living room or a family room or a bedroom, wherever you're putting this, and they're going to use mainly their iOS or Android, but again, or iOS device. But again, if everybody knows that nothing is a substitute for having a good old-fashioned remote in your hand when you're watching a display, when you're watching TV, a movie, whatever. You don't want to open up your phone or tablet, try and open up the app, try and find the pause button, right, just to pause it, or if a phone call comes in, you know the old saying, it's nothing beats a handheld remote. But maybe they don't need all of the cool two-way stuff on the remote, the touchscreen. This is a great add-on piece for that capability. Okay, it provides instant connectivity. It's always in sync, and you know it's one of a kind. Nobody has this to pair with a control system. The RFC. This gives you the ability to extend the range of the Z-series processor. So if you're going over 80 feet, you can add this in. The cool thing about it is it extends to multiple rooms. So you have one main processor and add on to that. It extends, you can actually add up to 4 of these to give you a maximum range. It actually creates a self-healing mesh network, okay, which makes it very reliable. And you can link multiple remotes across multiple floors, you know, multiple locations to a single processor. They also have the Relay 4. We've seen the IR4 in these, but they also created a Relay 4 because relays are so nice to have. They're able to turn on amplifiers, shades, gates, garage control, garage doors, motorized television lifts, movie screens. So many things have relay control. And this is a huge piece to be able to add on to that and extend. Okay, and the cool thing is it doesn't have to be linked or wired directly to the processor. It's done right over Ethernet, or if you want to, you can control it via IR right out of the processor. So you don't have to do network if you don't want to. But for relay, it's not just on and off. It has discrete commands for open, close, toggle, also adjustable momentary commands. So I want to press and hold and leave it closed for a certain amount of time and then release it automatically. It has that capability as well. The IRCB4, what this does is it extends 4 more IR ports. You take one IR port out of the main processor, you plug it right into this IRCB4. The cool thing is you don't need to power it. It's powered right over the IR. So you don't need to do a second power or wall wart or anything else. The docking cradle. Remember, the Z series comes with the docking cradle. The R series does not. What you get from the docking cradle, if you notice, really, I mean, everybody knows what a docking cradle is. But look at the ergonomics of it. By having the remote lay down like that and having it only cradle the top of the remote, I really have to give Pro Control props on the ergonomics of this, because when you go to pick it up and when you're sliding your hand underneath that remote to pick it up, your hand is automatically in that placement for controlling it. You don't have to re-situate the remote in your hand to start controlling it. Very nice, very easy, and very elegant docking cradle. And now they've got Z-Wave. The stuff keeps coming. They've got a Z-Wave interface to be able to tie in Z-Wave to all of your Pro Control needs. So now, not just for your AV, you can tie in your lighting systems, door locks, thermostats, securities, window shades, climate control, and so much more. Z-Wave has over 1,500 different devices out there you can add to this. So it blows it away by having Z-Wave capability into a small home control system like Pro Control. Very cool feature. Quick look at the software. Really advanced programming software. If you look at it, okay, it's nice, it's elegant, it's easy to understand. You've got your macros on one side, you got your UI in the middle, you got your remote on the left side. Pre-built templates, but if you see, you can delete and customize whatever you want. And it builds the stuff automatically for you, and then you can customize it afterwards. Very cool, very quick, very easy programming. The Pro Control Studio. Okay, this gives you effective auto programming. Okay, so it's going to build all those UIs for you. If you notice and you look at that UI on the left-hand side, there's a lot going on there. And to have that built for you automatically and then be able to go in and customize it is so nice. Okay, this supports all the Pro Control products. It has a massive IR database, RS-232 IP templates. Okay, dealer-only access, meaning it's password protected, so your end user cannot get in there. They can't mess with it. They can't buy a remote off of eBay and program it. Okay, it keeps the integrity of the line. They also have a huge database of professionally designed custom graphics, so you don't have to create all your own graphics. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to. And also, like I keep saying, this is 100% fully customizable. Everything on there, you could delete it all and start as a blank slate if you wanted. Okay, it gives you drag and drop graphical interface, so you can literally grab those buttons, drag them all around, lay them out how you want if you want to change anything. And since it is software-based, there's no internet connection required to use the software or to program. A lot of times you're going out to a job site, it's a new construction, there's no internet there yet. Or maybe there never will be. Being able to program this without internet is really nice. So let's just go through this real quick here. The benefits, again, it's only sold through distribution. One really nice thing about going only through distribution and not distribution in direct or distribution in retail is if you're going distribution and direct, some companies give direct a better deal than distribution. Okay, this is by only going through distribution, it's leveling the playing field. Everybody's getting the same price. It's also not sold through retail to the end user, which also is able to keep the integrity of the line and keep your margins great and be able to make money off of it. Okay, no authorized online sales. Programming software is not available to the end users. All devices must be approved through your local, or all dealers must be approved for your local distributor, meaning even though somebody gets signed up through a distributor, okay, for other products, Pro Control isn't automatically open to them. We do need to get you set up and approved through Capital Sales. It's quick, it's easy. We will help you get through it. I promise it's not that hard. So we'll help you get through it. But that also keeps a little bit of integrity as well of the line. What you also get from it is a 1-year warranty, direct replacement warranty. The batteries have a 90-day warranty. Okay, but again, they're interchangeable. So you just, if one dies, you can pull it out, put it back in. It also gives you a simple graphical-based programming, meaning you're not writing script files, you're not doing heavy programming. It's very easy, very graphical, very intuitive to program. So the summary, fully customizable, fast, reliable control, superior processing technology, iOS integration, advanced programming software, protected software and product. We went through all of this, and I can't stress it enough. This is a really cool product. It hits so many needs, and the price is there. I've worked with many control companies, and there really isn't one there that hits this many needs with the amount of hardware that's available at the price. Okay. So again, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for hopping on and watching this webinar here.